Hello, hello, hello. Yes. I'm super excited. We are here. Spicy Season Sisters. Yes. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Spicy Season Sisters podcast. This is episode 6, and I am Renette Upson Bush, the AKA the Next Level Chick.
Hey, everybody. This is Farrah, your number one Grace girl.
Hi, everyone. I'm Latoya Frazier, your CEO partner.
And good evening. I'm simply Tammy.
You're on mute, Coach Gail.
One more again. Hello, I am your favorite certified cognitive behavior coach, Coach Gail Vincent. Good evening.
Hey, y'all. We are super excited to be back. And before we even start this show, we just must say thank you. I know we announced it when we were all together last week, but y'all, we on the platforms, okay?
Yes, we are.
Yes. Progress. Let's say Apple. Can we say Apple? Can we say
Apple?
Can we say Buzzsprout? Can we say Spotify? Can we say YouTube? Can we say yes?
Yes.
Okay? So yes, y'all can go back and listen to us on any of those platforms, and we ask that you subscribe to our YouTube page. Yay! Okay. Yes. And you all can also email us if you have questions, any thoughts on topics you may want to hear about. Send it in because we want to make sure that we're helping women 40 plus to step up, step out, and do their thing. Okay, it's your time, it's your turn to show up, show out, and be all that God has called you to be. We in the spicy season, baby. So what we not gonna do is shrink back,
okay,
and sit back and not show up. We about to show up. And so our topic tonight that we are super excited about is called "You Still Can."
Yes.
So at the big age of 40 plus, many times we're in this space and place of, I'm feeling a little old, and I don't know if I should be doing this. On top of, being at this big age, we start to have a lot of obstacles that may have come, a lot of heartaches, a lot of pain. We might have family issues. We start looking at deaths and having these things going on. And so now the dreams that you had, you might feel like they have been derailed. You might feel like they can never come true. You might feel like, you know what, I'm already feeling old. Now I'm dealing with all of these things in my life. Everything is happening. Life is life. And people love to say that. But because life is life and does not mean life is over. So tonight we want to talk about to you that you still can. You can still dream. You can still live. You can still do anything and everything that you want to do. The only person that can stop you is who? You. Why would you want to stop yourself? Don't you never, ever be the weapon formed against your what? Own self. Okay?
Your own self. Yes.
That's what we not going to do. Okay? Yes. So with that being said, we are coming to y'all real raw and relevant tonight. Y'all have, seen us on here, and a lot of people are like, oh my God, y'all are so wonderful. Y'all have such wonderful lives, and they think their life is all perfect. Baby, everybody got a story. And before you get to the glory, you're going to have a story. You're going to have some stories. And you're going to go through some things. And so tonight we want to be real with you. And we're going to give you more about us. We've never said who we are, what we do. We just came on and we want to serve. Okay. So with that being said, we want to talk about, first of all, like what we do. Okay. And so we will start with that, and we'll start with Latoya.
Yes.
All right.
So what do you do, Latoya?
Yes, I'm still celebrating my birthday as of this recording. My birthday was a couple of days ago, January 20th, Aquarius.
Yay.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank my Spicy Season sisters for helping me bring my birthday in and making me feel special.
Oh,
So
You're welcome. We love you.
thank
so
you.
welcome.
Love you guys too.
Love you.
Yes.
So a little bit about me. Again, my name is Latoya Frazier, your CEO partner. I'm gonna share a little bit information about myself to kind of help you resonate with that title. So I am a former corporate employee. I left corporate America after 20 years. I was with my last employer for 17 years. I was with a Fortune 500 company. It was a great company. I love the organization. I met a lot of my beautiful friends there. Toward the latter part of my tenure, the organization started to go through some changes. I personally felt that I was no longer aligned with the changes that they were making. So I often say that the job fed my family, but it no longer fed my soul.
Oh,
Yes.
And at that time, the only person who could change that is me. Like Renee just said in the beginning, if there's something we're not happy with, who can change it? Me.
Yeah.
So after contemplating, what I was going to do, was I going to stay there and be unhappy? I mean, we got enough things going on in life to be unhappy about. I didn't want to show up to a job where I felt stressed and had anxiety, started going through depression because of the changes that were going on at the job. And I felt that I had to make the best decision for me. So long story short, my background is in learning and development and project management. So what I did as a project manager is I put a project plan together for my exit strategy. This exit strategy was 2 years. It wasn't like, okay, I don't like this job anymore, and now I'm just going to leave. I had to have a plan as a project manager. Everything in my head is a project. So I planned out my 2-year exit strategy. As part of that exit strategy, one of the things that I had to do was take a look at what were some of the non-negotiables that I was willing to do, or non-negotiables I was willing to accept versus the things that I couldn't, accept. So I put a plan together, put a date in place, and my 2-year exit strategy actually turned in like 2.5. I got cold feet. I was already doing my business at the time, but it was more like a hobby, because you got the fallback of your income, right? So there's not a lot of wiggle room where you can say, okay, you know what, I'm still getting a paycheck. So I was kind of dibbling and dabbling. So fast forward, after 2.5 years, I got cold feet because my oldest son was getting ready to go to college, and I wasn't sure what the finances was going to look like. So I had to take a look at that. My goal was to leave in August of that particular year, but I actually left in December of that year. I needed to see like what those college expenses look like. How was it going to be for me to actually be full-time in my business, relying on this income to support my family? So I didn't stop the plan. I just modified the plan. Sometimes we have to pivot, right? So I pivoted, and I was able to still leave my corporate career after, that last employer, 17 years, but 20 years, my 20-year tenure. So one of the things that I want to share with you this year, I will be celebrating 10 years full-time in my business. Praise God.
Woo-hoo! Amazing.
It's easy, but it's definitely been worth it. So we'll be celebrating. We'll be celebrating on the podcast too. The anniversary, my 10-year anniversary. During the 10 years that I've been in business, I went through one of the most hard times of my life, I would say, which was an actual divorce after 24 years. And I thought that I was not going to be able to move forward in the goals and the dreams and aspirations that I had. But I was able to tap in and move forward. And I want to share with you really quickly some of the things that I've been able to do, even after going through that devastation. I've been able to co-author 4 books.
Amazing.
I'm a podcast co-host.
Wow. Yes.
And I'm currently an empty nester of 3 adult children. And let me tell you guys about this. I am currently on an empty nester journey where I am traveling full-time as an empty nester, as a digital nomad. I started out with the goal of 6 to 12 months. I am currently in my 17th month as traveling full-time as a digital nomad. And as your CEO partner, I'm going to bring it all home for you guys. I teach experts how to create their signature course or program using my income and profit method. So the things that I'm doing, I have a successful online business. I'm traveling full time. I teach my clients how to do the same thing. So we're living the laptop lifestyle. So I'm Latoya Frazier, your CEO partner.
I love that.
Yeah, let's give it up for Latoya.
Awesome. That's awesome.
That is amazing. That is amazing. So guess what we can say? You still can. Latoya just gave y'all all of that. I mean, she switched from a career to a whole job. I mean, I'm sorry, from a whole job to a whole business. Okay.
Yeah.
And she was married. She said for 24 years she was together. And all of a sudden, bam, a divorce. Yeah. That would stifle a lot of people and make them want to stop. But she didn't stop because she realized she had purpose. She realized that she had more that she was supposed to do. So she didn't stop and think it's over. She decided, I still can. And look at what she's doing. The laptop lifestyle. They love that. Latoya.
Love that.
Y'all, was that amazing? What?
I love that.
Wow.
Yes. I love it, love it, love it. Woo! Okay, so we did say we were going to make a little personal around here, didn't we? Right now, if y'all are watching this, I want you all to share this out because it's a lot of women that are 40 plus that are really struggling. And they don't believe they still can. They don't. They still running behind the kids. They still feeling, sad, sorry, down, feeling like I'm a little old. I can't do this, but you still can. And so we want this to be shared out with as many, many women who it can help. Yes. So you can share it through texting your friends on the phone. You can share it on your social media. However you need to do it, let's just do it, okay? Y'all, let's share. Y'all know sharing is caring. And we definitely care. That's why we're sharing ourselves with you all and giving the real, because it ain't easy, okay? It's not easy. If it was easy, life would be a little different, right? But it's real hard sometimes. Right. But guess what? We can do hard things.
Yes.
So
my name, I love that.
Yes. Did y'all want to say anything to Latoya before we move on?
No, that's just quite a story. That's amazing, Latoya.
Thank you.
And I always speak about the fight up, and that's exactly what we have to do. Fight up.
Fight
and
up.
We have to pull ourselves up. So that's beautiful and amazing.
Thank you.
That is beautiful. Toya took that opportunity to lean into her faith like never before.
Absolutely.
And you shared before how you've had friends around you who are a big support system for you. But I'm sure that you had to lean into your faith when you were by yourself.
Yes.
I'm sure you still have to lean into your faith being an empty nester.
Absolutely. And actually I'll share too, during that time, it was during COVID. So I was really alone.
Wow.
So I had nothing but my faith to lean on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, y'all know what we could say? She don't look like what she's been through.
No, not
at all.
Look like what we've been through. Yes.
She sure don't with all those photo ops she had last week for her birthday. She don't look nothing like what she done been through.
Okay.
Loved all the pictures you posted.
Yes, beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Woo! All right. Wow. So I guess it's my turn, y'all.
Oh, yes, it's your turn,
ma'am. Okay. So my name is Renette Upson Bush. And I guess let me see where I will start. So I am by trade. My degree is in business, but I never really went into business. I thought I was going to be an actress and own a business. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't do that. I went into education. So I was in education for 17 years. Actually, before I went into education, I worked for the Department of Children and Families. That's, I did AFDC, Medicaid, and food stamps. That's where I worked in that office. I hated that job. If I could really seriously be honest, I hated it, and I kept saying, I'm gonna quit. I'm not gonna do this job. If I don't get another job, I'm gonna be one of the clients, receiving these benefits, because I just didn't want to do my job. It wasn't a fun job, and it was very low paying at the time. So my mother said, well, if you can't do nothing else, you could teach. And I thought to myself, that's the last thing I wanted to do. But right now, I don't want to work at DCF. So they had some jobs. I went on an interview, and the principal said, can you start tomorrow? She said, it's only 6 weeks. It's a 6-week job, but the lady's pregnant. She's going to be out. So, if you could go ahead and start, we'd love to have you. And it was science, baby. I did not like science. I was not good at that in school. Okay. So I went back. I told my boss at DCF I quit. He was like, you can't quit. I said, what y'all gonna do? Arrest me? I'm out. Did this, packed my stuff and left. I started the school system the next day. And so what happened is, and I want to tell y'all this, I had a whole leap of faith because, like I said, I was just going to quit my job and receive public assistance. When I went to that 6-week temporary job, I had a permanent job, went to the 6-week temporary job that turned into a full-time job, because when the 6 weeks was over, the lady had to be out a little longer, so it was extended. And I did such a good job. They told me they would love to keep me, but they couldn't because their funds didn't have it. Well, the parents went to the school board and fought for me to come back. I was home for a week, and by the time the week passed and all the petitions and the kids and all of that, they created a whole new team, and I was the team captain, and I was just starting school, like teaching. So anyways, I taught for 17 years. I knew that I was not supposed to stay there, that God had called me to something different. I knew that I was always a boss. So I decided 3 weeks into my 17th year in the school system that I was going to quit. So I did quit. I was going to quit to open the school. And many of you all know my story. The biggest thing was looking for a building. Went through looking for this building, couldn't find it. The first building fell through, the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Okay. And then the 7th building was the building that we got. Opened the preschool. Okay. And so from opening the preschool, it took all that time to get that building open, but it was number 7, the number of completion. With that being said, the first year open, we became the Orlando Magic Preschool of the Year, which is the NBA team here in Orlando. We became accredited nationally and internationally. We became the Model Preschool of the Year, and we also were in 14 months $1 million business. Now, who does that? Wow. But that was like a whole surprise. Like, oh my God, really? We did that? We were working so hard in the business, didn't realize that like we had done this. But it was a great thing. But what I did realize through that process that, we had all prepared. You prepare for the success, but when it happens, are you really prepared? It was like everybody was coming to us. It was so much going on. And it was like, oh my God, this happened. And so we were not prepared, okay? Totally not prepared, because now everybody's asking us to do this, do that, whatever. And let me tell you what we did that we shouldn't have did. They tell you to get an attorney and they tell you to get an accountant. And so just not having those things, we owed so much in taxes and all the things that we never thought about. It's like, oh my God. So you have to be ready and prepared for success. And so when we left and was able to make that kind of money and do all of that, I'm living on top of the world. And through that process, one of the things that happened that made me feel like I couldn't anymore was when my 6-year-old grandson passed. He was in a car accident. He died. And that was one of the hardest things in my life. Never expected that. And he was on life support for 9 days. And after the 9 days, they pulled the plug. He passed. But the good thing is that he saved 6 lives. We donated his organs. So that's been a new mission for us, myself and my family. And so we do a lot of work with our Legacy Organ Donation Society. And as many other things that have happened to me since then. But the fact that, you know, we were able to meet the young boy, Carlos, my new grandson, who got my grandson's heart, that just changed my life. And so it was really hard for myself, my family. I did not take the time to grieve because I was busy. I have 18 grandkids now. At the time, I had like maybe 12. And so it was just a lot. And so, with that being said, I felt like I didn't know how to move on, but I was able to move on. We had the school. Not only did I have the school, I started Next Level Chicks, which I help women to 40 plus live their dreams, walk in their purpose on purpose, so that they can walk in their purpose and their destiny. So I am a coach, I am a speaker, and I'm actually a serial entrepreneur. I do a lot of things. God said we can do all things, and I can do all things through Christ. So I'm a serialpreneur. And I love the Lord, and it's through God that I'm able to get up every day and know that I still can. So that's my story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Wow.
That is awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Yes. So
I need to be quiet after going after you two.
I just want to say something about Renette. Because during the time that her grandson passed away, we were working on a project together. And she was so committed because she's such a woman of her word. She would not take the time to just grieve and do what she needed to do. She was still trying to show up and show out for the project. And we just had to tell her, we are good. Go and take care of yourself. Go take care of your family. Do what you need to do. And we'll pick up the project when you come back. And I just want to commend her publicly and say, I love you. And I thank you for everything that you've done and that you're doing. And so I just wanted to thank you for that, because anybody could have just stopped and just said, you know what, I'm done. But she was so committed to the project and her word that she did. We finally convinced her to go step away for a little while. But when she came back, she was ready. She showed up, showed out, and the project just took off and was wonderful. So thank you, Renette.
Yes, well, and I thank y'all too, everybody on that team. And that was the first of a series, Girl Get Up and Move. Yes. And it's just so crazy because I had to get up and move, but it was through the support. And this is why we need support. And because I wasn't gonna stop, but sometimes when you keep going and you don't stop and get the help and do what you need, you can just fall apart. So sometimes you got to have people in your circle. And that's exactly what I did. I had people in my circle. When my grandson died, I actually had an event coming up as well. And COVID shut everything down. On top of my event, my grandson dying, people came together to pull that event together, turn it in from an in-person event to a virtual event. I left the hospital long enough to do that event. That went well. The book went well. 3 categories, bestseller, all of that. It was just amazing. And then we donated money. It was really good. Then a couple of days later, my grandson ended up passing. But like I said, he saved 6 lives. So that was the biggest thing. And I just really thank God for getting me through it. And I thank God for the support that he sent me. And it's so good. We're better together than apart. So yes.
You still can.
Yes, I still can. Yes.
One thing I love about Renette is that Renette is somebody who she acknowledges the pain. She acknowledges the truth. She embraces it. She's like, okay, you know what can I do with this?
Right.
I can. This can stop me. This can be a stumbling block for me. This can be a boulder in front of me, or I'm gonna find a way to break this up. Right. Or I'm gonna find a way to scratch my way out. And I love that about her, that she's going to say, it hurts. This hurt, and she had to go through that process.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
y'all, in our conversations as well, and I do have to say something as well about you. You lead by example, and I'm putting my hands down, lady.
have
Look
to.
at
You don't have
Stephanie.
Okay, I can't. But anyway,
to.
you lead by example. And let me tell you, it's because of you that I've been pulled upward. Okay. Because for so long, I've had so many ideas and I've been struggling to just be me and be able, I'm a creator by nature. Okay. And, you know, getting married young, raising two beautiful kids they just turned out to be two wonderful kids, and being married for 33, 34 years, and then a divorce, just like Latoya spoke of. During that process and that time, I too had ideas, things that I wanted to do, things that I presented to my ex-husband that I wanted to do. But I found myself struggling and battling, but I had to be there for my family, okay? And sometimes when you're married, your spouse doesn't see your vision, even though you speak it. Not saying that he wasn't supportive. I will never say that. Okay, he was very supportive, 100% supportive. But in my life, I've had to put everything on paper. And I've had things on paper for years that I just wanted to accomplish and that I wanted to do, writings, drawings, just inventions that are on paper that are just not out there now. Now I'm divorced, my kids are grown, and I'm doing me.
Yes.
I'm able to now write. I'm able to now be a spicy seasoned sister. I'm able to create. I remodeled my whole house, you know, my hands alone. But I mean, I had some help, but it's now that I just want ladies to know, you know, get up, get out, do your thing, because that's what I'm doing now. And I'm going to give my ex-husband credit too, because he just called me and told me, whatever you need, get started and do what you need to do. I'm going to be there to help you. He even called tonight, said, I'm going to support you. You all do. I'm calling to tell you, have a good podcast. You're doing wonderful things. I think we get lost sometimes in life, and we're not able to maneuver and do some of the things we want to do, and it becomes frustrating. But somehow, some way, we have to keep fighting, and we don't have to give up. And I haven't given up. And I always talk about the easels I have in my garage. I actually have 6 easels now with 6 different companies that I'm working on as we speak, on top of Spicy Season Sisters. And, you know, I have to say, I've been in law enforcement now for 32 years. Okay. I'm still there. Yes, soon I'll be giving it up. But life just happens the way it happens. And at this point right now, everything that I wanted to accomplish, I am going to accomplish. And I'm going to let you ladies know. On May 10th, 2022, I was in a car accident on the 528. Okay. That car accident, my whole entire car was totaled. It was wrapped around me like a can. Okay. I stepped out of that vehicle and looked up. I saw this crisp black sky. My life could have been taken that night. I walked away from that accident, and I actually want to cry, but I'm not, with one scar. One scar. From that point on, I decided that was it. And I'm going to tell you, last year, 2024 in January, I made up my mind that those things that were no good for me and those things that were holding me back and holding me down, I was no longer going to allow it. And let me tell you something. When you step up, you make up your mind and you decide you're going to make things happen for you, then they will, because I'm telling you, and I'm a witness. Beautiful things are happening in my life now. And I thank the Lord, and I thank you all, and I thank my circle of friends that I have, because let me tell you, the fight up is not easy. It's not easy, but you have to push and you have to give it your all. And I'm going to continue to do that.
Ooh, whoa. So
I love it.
this is so compelling. I'm so glad that we really chose to do this. You still can, because we still can. So Tammy started telling some of, what has happened to her. And we want to, if you want to share any more, let us know. Go ahead and do that, because your story is amazing. And if anybody has had a fight up, that's been all of us. And Tammy, I know, you've had a fight up, and you have stepped out in what I see as unscathed. You never know the hell that you endured.
Oh my goodness.
You did it like a champion.
Yes.
You fought like Muhammad Ali would. When you say fight up, baby, you fight up, you fought up, you beat up, you knocked out, you did it all, because you still are showing up. And now you are just spreading your wings and you framing it. As you do it with those hands, you framing your whole life. And it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's been a ride.
Yeah. Tammy, if you could just see the chat right now, your message, what you just said is blessing so many women in the chat right now. And as you was talking, I just was reading some of the things I had typed up beforehand, rediscovering your identity. And you're an epitome of that. You've been reflecting on what makes you unique beyond your circumstances. Beyond your circumstances, whether through journaling, prayer, quiet reflection, you've been reminding yourself of your strength. And that's what you're doing right now. You're just reminding yourself of your strength. Because if we don't open our mouths and we don't remember, we don't realize how strong we are.
That's
right.
Right.
For
Renette to say it was like a Muhammad Ali, that's a fight.
Ooh. Yeah, she's been there. She knows. She's been there. She knows.
Yeah. And I love how your ex-husband is supporting you.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
For you.
Yes.
You all have gotten to a place of being able to work in some way.
Right.
Because there's so many divorces that are ugly.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yes. It's been work for but when you do God's work and you do things in a godly manner, then this is the outcome.
Yes.
Okay. My family's happy now. We've done the work. My kids have done the work. I've done the work with them. I've done the work with my ex-husband. Yes. And we're friends now.
Love it.
We're able to be friends. Okay. We're able to be in the same space and enjoy each other. But I want to say this, and I'm not going to take up all the time, but in 2020, Renette is a table of greatness. And I spoke to Renette after that. Renette sent me her book, and she sent me these posters with these women on it. And I took those posters and I sat them in front of my desk along with her book. But she didn't know at the time how she had inspired me. But she found out 3 years later, because someone was trying to tell her that she put a spark up under me. And she is very much an important part and played an important part in where I am now and where I am today. So I just want to thank you, Renette.
Well, I love you. I love y'all. All of y'all. I love you, Tammy. And I love, just watching you grow and go through this whole thing, like I said, coming out unscathed, not looking like, and just really living these dreams. And honestly, I told Tammy when I kept hearing, Tammy said, you really inspiring her. Tammy said she's going to do this. And I talked to Tammy a couple of times on the phone, and she was saying, and I was like, I heard her, but I, kind of heard her, how you hear it and go one ear and out of the other, because this wasn't the realm that she was in. And so a lot of times I hear that from people that, you know, hey, you did this and you did that, but you don't. I mean, to be doing what she's doing today is like, whoa, amazing. So proud of you, Tammy. Y'all, let's clap Tammy up. She is just amazing in everything that she's done. I love it. I love it. Y'all would never know. And look, we look good, like I said. We done been through some things. Okay, so that being said, Sarah, tell us about what you have gone through.
I tell you, when I say that term every time I introduce myself on my podcast or with you all, the number one grace girl.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you, there's some days you don't feel like you have any grace. And, you know, it's another way for me to frame myself, to remind myself that God's grace is with me. And, and this is actually one of the reasons how me and Renette got connected. I was just sharing about my son's story, you know, and for some of my friends who are watching, I was in women's ministry for a long time, for many years. And when I moved here to Orlando, I just was focused on my family, you know, just focused on moving here, getting settled, getting grounded. And no sooner than a year of being here, my 16-year-old daughter got pregnant. So now I have this little grandchild that I have to help her to take care of. She's about to get into her last year of high school. And you know, okay, we made that happen. And another year later, my son needs a kidney transplant.
Wow.
And you know, we knew that, you know, he had a condition, but we didn't know that it was going to be as soon as it was. He's a 12-year-old. You know, as a mom, you're like, you know, you want to take that your child's place.
Right.
You know, you don't want your child to have to go through that, let alone the financial burden. Because, you know, are we prepared for a child who needs an organ? You know, where am I going to get the money from? You know, television makes it look easy when it comes to organ transplants for kids. It's not that easy. You need to have insurance. You got to have money. You got to have a lot of money.
Right.
You got to have insurance. You have to have great doctors, and you have to be an advocate for your family.
Right.
And so, along with me helping my daughter to raise my grandson, now I'm having to work on, you know, how is my son going to get an organ? I can't stop working. You know, I'm a big part of the income for my family. And so, you know, when it comes with things like that, you know, it's a burden financially on your family. It's a burden on your relationship. It's a burden in a lot of ways. So, you know, so now not only am I struggling with having to try and focus on being an advocate for my son and raising money to have, you know, co-payments and medication. Now I'm struggling in a relationship with my spouse because I have to put all of my focus on my child. So these are some of the things that come up when you're, you know, a parent who's dealing with a child who can't help themselves. I mean, he was a 12-year-old having to go through getting an organ, you know, applying for different hospitals. And, you know, by the grace of God, I had a phenomenal family that, you know, and friends, you know, who they GoFundMe's for me. They raised money for my son. They made sure that I had housing when it was time for us to go. And, you know, because he had his organ transplant all the way in Miami, and I had to stay there for months. And I had to still work from the hospital.
Wow.
Thank God for the doctor I worked for. I was on Zoom. I was, you know, my staff had me on FaceTime where I was able to still live. And so with that, you know, it does come a lot of resentment with your spouse when you're like, you can't just stop doing everything and focus on this child. You still have to focus on work, home. I'm living out of, you know, the area, all of these different things, you know, and the worry that comes with that.
Right.
And it took a lot of that. That's when I really, really, really saw grace rise up, you know, and I always knew that, you know, God was there with me. And I mean, my sisters, friends, I had no circle here. I didn't even get a chance to build a circle here. So this was family and friends all the way from another state that was supporting me, you know, and I don't know how I would have gotten through that time, you know, had it not been for them, you know. And my church was another saving grace for my family. And so I will say this, ladies, that, you know, although we overcame that, it took about 1.5 years for my son to get his organ. Wow. Listen, it's a lifelong process because he has to take medicine for the rest of his life. Right. So regardless of him being a young adult, I still have to be there for him and make sure that he's, you know, compliant and showing up for appointments, and financially, there's still, you know, that financial piece there. And, you know, now I'm in a situation where my husband is in need of an organ. So, when people are out there and, taking life for granted,
Right.
complaining,
Exactly.
fussing, fighting,
Yes.
God said, let me give her something that's going to make her happy. Let me give her spicy seasoned sisters.
Yes.
Let me give her art of grace. Let me show her how to, if she, in her serving other people, how I'm serving her.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit back and just, be a punching bag for the enemy. I'm not going to be a punching bag for myself.
Right.
I'm not going to be, in pity, because I know that if I, I can do that. I can sit here and focus on just my family, but what good is that going to do? Right. At the end of it, I have no control. Right. That was a time in my life where I realized I have no control.
Wow.
And I still have no control. And I'm okay with that. And I think that that's where I've grown, is in the letting go and really, really, really relying on God.
Relying on God.
Yeah. And so, I don't share my story too much, especially at work and stuff. So, people come in, my staff, they complain. I'm like, listen, you have no idea. You have no idea, what I've been through and what I'm still going through. And there's still going to be other challenges that's going to come. And, but, listen, we're strong women, we're resilient. And that's just a small chapter of my life, but I was intentional, this past year and a half, where I said, you know what, now it's time to focus on Farrah. My son is good. And again, I let go. Now that took my hands off it and said I had no control. Now I'm going to focus on Farrah, and focusing on Farrah means serving, getting back to serving and doing what I love and being intentional and rediscovering myself. And in that, listen, if I didn't do that and I didn't take a step and a leap of faith, I wouldn't have started a podcast. I would not have this new podcast with my sisters and my friends.
Yes.
I would not have gotten healthy mentally and spiritually.
Yes.
I could have stayed in a deep funk and depression, because not only did I go through having a child who needed an organ transplant, I went through a separation with my spouse for a couple of years. Wow. And the stress of that, and having to do it on my own, kind of like what Toya had to go through, I went through and had to stay on my feet. I can do it. Purchasing a house, seeing how, I'm being carried and, through it. And so it's not easy. It's not easy, ladies.
It's Farrah, with God, you can do it.
Yeah.
You doing it, Farrah. That story, each one of these stories is like, whoa. Like, God has definitely kept us for a reason. And through all of this, like Farrah said, we could give up. We could have said, no, I'm not going to be bothered with this. And going through this, we could have given up on our dreams, all the different things. Like she said, each one of us have just given a snippet of our stories, because we got some other stories. And the thing about it is, all of the women that are probably in the audience and people that are listening to us, y'all have some stories as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you still getting up and moving? Are you still dreaming? Are you still believing? Have you surrendered to God? Yes. Because God is able, but we have to be able as well. And so this is why it was so important for us to do this episode. You still can. And as y'all see, Farrah still can, and she still is.
And she still is.
Contributor now to the Sanford newspaper.
Yes.
Okay, in the house. Doing amazing things. If you look everywhere and watch Farrah, baby, you will be tired. You wouldn't even know.
You know what, Renette? I take a piece of every last one of you with me. So much of what I'm doing has been inspired by Coach Gail, by you, by Toya, by Tammy, by Dr. Everything that I do has been inspired by God, because I'm doing, His will and His purpose. But I take so much of you ladies with me. It makes it easy for me now, because I'm not trying to do it by myself.
Right.
But everyone, I can share every one of your testimonies with someone is going to bless someone, because people may not get moved by my story at all, but they may be moved by, what, I had a friend who went through that, and this is how she overcame that. This is how she did it, and you can, So I think it's so important for us to open up our mouths and share.
Ooh.
Us just open up our mouths and stop being, like you got to hold it in, like, I'm going to be embarrassed,
Right.
What? I'm not embarrassed to say that I was separated for a couple of years. It was probably the best thing that could have happened to me and my husband.
Right.
Because I thank God I didn't have a weapon in the house, and I'm sure he wanted a weapon for me too.
We have it too.
We laugh at a lot of it now, some of the dumb stuff, because it's dumb, and some of it was serious, because you feel like you've let each other down, in so many ways, but we have definitely found ways to laugh at it and to be honest. And now that I have adult children, like Tammy said, her children has healed. My girls just laugh at us. They're like, "Oh my God, yeah, you and your husband, you and your wife," And but we're still working through a lot of things, and I'm not going to sit up there and be secretive about it and say it's perfect, because y'all know Christmas time around the Warrell house was something. And I thank you for Coach Gail. Thank you for Renette. I thank you that y'all got pocketbooks with money in it that could have been for bail. Listen, we ain't hiding it, ladies. We go through some stuff.
Yeah.
And I thank God for my sisters, because the month of December, it's the season for Christ, but it was the season for cursing around here too.
It surely
But you
was,
stepped
baby.
up. You stepped up, though.
Yeah.
I had to fight up. I had to fight up. I had to, and I thank God for my girl from Jersey over there, Coach Gail Benson. She ready at any time.
Yes. Farrah and I were talking a lot.
I don't know if I was fighting up though.
Going on. Farrah, we had a lot going on in November and December. It was a lot.
And it's all while we're serving. It's like all while we're doing for the people around us. And those are when distractions come. Because I'm gonna tell you something. When that situation happened with my son, I had just went up to Richmond, Virginia with a friend who lost her son.
Wow.
And she was healing from that. I said, let's do a conference. And I did that conference. 2 days later, I came home. That happened with my son. Wow. I was there trying to encourage her, and they're trying to encourage all these women. And I came home to that situation that happened with my son, where I had to think quick, okay, I need money. I need this, I need that. I had just been up in Richmond ministering to a bunch of women and ministering to my friend who was going through a challenge. And, and that's usually when it happens, like, us trying to get online tonight to talk to you ladies. You think we ain't go through every bit of everything today? We at work, we're trying to get home, we're trying to get set up, and everything tries to come against us on this Thursday night that's specially set aside for you all and for Spicy Season Sisters.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Farrah, I want to add to Farrah's story, because, one of the things that most of us can probably resonate with is when we're going through a tough time, we have so many different emotions, and embarrassment may be one of them, right? Yeah. And as I got comfortable sharing my story and my testimony, I had to come to terms with somebody's testimony saved me, right? Yeah. So I would be selfish not to share mine, because my testimony may save somebody else. It's not for me. My testimony is for other people. So just thinking about, not wanting to share, the embarrassment, the disappointment, all of those negative emotions that can come up. Once you get clear and comfortable about where you are in your situation, your testimony is, you just don't know, by sharing, how it blesses somebody else, how it helps somebody else to come out of that depression, how it helps somebody else to get up and move, because that was part of my story. Because when Renette had the project, the Girl Get Up and Move, I told you guys when I was going through divorce, it was during COVID. And I had a goal to become a published author, right? I wanted to have published author behind my name. I was so broken down and beat up, I couldn't feel like I could do anything. And I got the opportunity. Someone had sent to me the call for authors that Renette had. And I said, okay, Lord, if you give me the strength, I don't have it in me to write a whole book, but I can write a chapter. If you give me the strength, I can do it. And we're what, three books in. So
3 books in.
So your testimony, your story can bless somebody else.
Yes.
Can I add something real quick with that? Just to feed off LaToya, for you ladies out there who have lost family members, lost friends, find a way, if you're struggling with how to move forward, Number one, my first thing is to take it to God. But my second thing I want to tell you is um, uh, it takes muscle memory. It takes time and effort to make these changes. And you have to consistently think about this. You have to consistently want to A, B, C your life to the top. You can't sit in a mud pile, feel sorry for yourself, and not move forward. Because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people walk right around you and look at you in that mud pile while they're trying to go and get whatever it is they need to
my
get.
goodness.
Okay? So I'm not going to preach tonight, but I'm going to tell you like it is. Stop making excuses. Take your part of chapter 2 in a book I was writing is about what I'm telling you right now. Don't make excuses. Decide what you want to do, write it down, make it happen. And those people who do not support you, you know what I'm going to say? Move away from them. You have to focus on you. You have to make things happen for you.
Yes.
And you'll know who's for you and you'll know who's against you. I'm done. I'm not going to preach tonight.
All right, Sarah, that was beautiful. And I remember you just said something about your story might not touch somebody or resonate. If that don't touch somebody, then something must be wrong. That is
it will.
Beyond
It will. It resonate.
Yeah. It definitely. So we have. Oh, I was looking for Gail.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
yes.
we have
There
all been through some things, as you have heard, and now it is Coach Gail Benson's time.
Yeah.
So we want to hear what it is you want to share tonight.
I want to come to you as true fashion as I can
Tammy
and
fashion.
share. I'm coming to you with a little Tammy tonight, but I want you to listen very close. Listen, this is all out of love for our sister Tammy. Tammy, we love you.
Love you too.
Those of you that know me, you know, this has been unbelievable. And it's a testament to me to show me that you never know what God has in store for you. We do not get to write ourselves out of our own story. And that is what I did some years ago, about 5 years ago. The pivotal moment in my life that I never thought, as I was growing up as a child and just looking back at what my life was, I never thought I saw myself giving up, not wanting to live, not wanting to be here. That most of you, a lot of people, those of you that are here who have read my book, Pressure, I've spelled out my journey in my memoir. And, you know, my mother taught me a lot of things in life, but she didn't teach me how to live without her. And that catapulted me into grief, depression, anxiety. Multiple things happened during this time. It was 1 year, the like post-COVID 2021. Just going through, even trying to understand what was happening to me. You know, most women, especially Black and brown women, we don't understand what nervous breakdown is or what a nervous breakdown looks like, or, you know, all we know is that we have stress and we think we supposed to just deal with it and take a licking and keep on ticking. Well, I couldn't figure out why I was taking that licking, but I couldn't keep ticking. I knew that I will always bounce back. And this time there was no bounce back. I could not bounce back. I hit that brick wall. The brick wall hit me back and knocked me on my butt. You know, going through that in 2021, you know, my mother passed away and I felt like, okay, I know I'm going to be sad. I know I'm going to cry. I know I'm going to miss her, but I did everything she told me to do. I did this. I did everything she told me to do. So I'm good. I was not good. And I thought if I continued to tell myself I was good, that I would be good. I thought if I continue to feel like Just push through. Just push through. That chanting and those mantras, when your soul and your whole spirit is broken and there's no light for you, the more you keep telling yourself, you're trying to figure out, why can't I do this? And instead of reaching out for help, you know why? Because I didn't know how to reach out for help, because I had no idea what was happening. So at that time, I'm going through that, the grief, the depression, the anxiety. My marriage fell apart. My husband left. My neighbors watched the U-Haul truck pull up. They watched him pack it up, and they watched him pull off. And it just all happened, not just in front of my face, but in front of my neighbors. And they're concerned, and they're coming to the house. I'm not opening the door. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm embarrassed. I'm pissed off. I really don't care. I'm just mad that you did it in front of the neighbors. You could have left at night when nobody saw you. Now I got to sit here and answer questions for the neighbors. And it was so many emotions. Mind you, I got two young girls here, my daughters, watching the whole thing play out. Now I'm mad because the person that I brought into our lives, because it was just the three of us for some time. So this person that I brought into our lives, I feel responsible because I feel like I let them down because he left.
Wow.
And now everything that I built, I thought we were building together, has crumbled in front of my eyes, in front of their eyes. And now I feel responsible because it's just something else. Two more little black girls got to look at a man walk out the door. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I fix that? I'm not focused on me. I'm just as broken as I can be. Going through that process, I had to grow through grief. I had to learn
Mm-hmm.
from loss. And it was not easy. After
Mm-hmm.
going through that, my marriage fell apart, my health
Right.
failed, I had a heart
Right.
attack, and I did not tell a soul. I laid in that hospital for 5 days. And
Mm.
I sat there and tried to, who do I call to tell that this happened to me? And all depression was saying to me was nobody, because
Wow.
nobody cares. Nobody gives a crap. Who are you going to tell? Nobody's going to come up here and help you. Your daughters are home. Brianna is holding it down at the house while you in the hospital. Nobody cares. And
Wow.
I allowed myself to believe that. I allowed myself to believe it. My job didn't know. My family didn't know until I wrote the book. Nobody knew that I had a heart attack. They knew that something had happened to me because I was very different. I could barely speak on the phone. They were called to just be talking. They heard my husband. Now they just knew my husband left. So they was calling to get the intel on that. Like, what happened? Nobody knew. And I'm struggling to talk because I can barely talk. And they want an explanation on what happened. And instead of me saying, hey, I can't talk right now, I'm in the hospital, I'm trying to cover it all up because I'm trying to continue to put on this show that I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay and I'm
Mm-hmm.
strong enough and I'll get through this. And this whole thing will happen and nobody will know and I'm going to recover. Well, at the time I didn't.
Wow.
And I completely gave up the will to live. I tried to sink my incentive into my kids. And I wanted my kids to be enough to keep going and to go through. And guess what? It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. I was broken. My kids couldn't fix me. The neighbors couldn't fix me. My brother couldn't fix me. That was between me and God.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea that what he was taking me through was preparing me for today. If God had told me, well, I'm going to bring you into the dreams and the visions that you're seeing, I'm going to give you that, but you got to lose your mama to do it.
Yes.
Your mama got to die for you to learn a few lessons. Well, I'm going to give you everything, but your marriage going to fall apart. And I
Yes.
need you to trust me through that. And I need you to take this lesson and take notes. I'm going to give you everything you see, but
Yes.
your health going to fail. And you're
Yes.
not going to feel good and you're going to feel alone. But I need you to
Mm.
trust me. See, we don't get that play by play. We don't get that playbook because, see, God, I got plans. God, I got plans. I'm trying to tell you what I got going on here. But
Yeah.
that didn't matter because what I wanted wasn't going to fit the need that he needed me to do for other people. See, I thought I was going to get there by another means. See, I thought I was going to get there and reach those pivotal moments and those plateaus and elevate through my consulting firm.
Right.
No,
Right.
baby, I got to take you through something so that you can grow through
Grow
what you're
through
going to
it.
have to help somebody else go through.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
had to take that and figure out how, after going through 14 weeks of group therapy, not wanting to be in therapy, the therapist threatening me that he gonna still send Orange County Sheriff Department to my house for a well check. I had to.
Yeah.
The more I was trying to give up, the more he was throwing me into the lesson. Like, you have got to trust me. I'm going to get you on the track to do what I need you to do, whether you like it or not.
Right.
So instead of me fighting, once I was in that 14-week group therapy program, I figured out, wow,
Yeah.
it's a lot of people out here who are
Hurting.
hurting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as dedicated as I was to not being here, as dedicated as I was to what I called a silent suicide, just pass away quietly and just don't say nothing. You know your health failing, just lay down and die. And that's what I just about tried to do. I had to go through the moment of figuring out, how do I talk to women who were as dedicated to not being here? How do I reach women
Mm.
who are dedicated to taking the easy way out and listening to those voices telling them that they are not enough? You're never going to have what she has. You're never going to have that. You're a dreamer. You're wasting your time. You're not good enough. I
Mm.
heard all of that. And I listened to all of that. I did not see a tomorrow for myself at
Wow.
all, even
Wow.
with my children.
Right.
Most of the times we think we do everything because of the kids. We neglect ourselves because of the kids. We
Right.
push through because of the kids. I didn't have it. I could not do it just based on the children. I had to want it for myself. I had to believe that tomorrow was going to come, and I didn't have to believe the things that I learned in that therapy program taught me about reframing, and I learned how powerful the brain is.
Yes.
And I figured, I said, I got to learn a way to reach women that's so far gone and don't care. I got to figure out how to connect with them because I know how far gone I was, and there was nothing nobody could tell me. And I was 5 weeks into a 14-week program before I even started paying attention and started giving a crap.
Yeah.
So that's when I became certified life coach because I knew I ain't have it in me to go to school to be no psychologist. I knew I wasn't going to do that. But I had to find a way to
Yeah.
to reach women. And I wanted to reach women, but I didn't want to tell my story. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. And I didn't want to tell my story for a whole nother about 2 years. It wasn't until 2023 that I decided to tell my story. I was silently trying to help people. Oh, can I talk to you for a second? I would not open my mouth out of embarrassment and being
Right.
afraid that I didn't have the willpower to fight off those old demons. And when I figured out that I did, because I had all the power, I control my thoughts. I
Yeah.
reframe my thoughts. So I
Yes.
had to dig deep and ask myself, how bad do you want it? You've
Yeah.
already been on that side where you didn't see no tomorrow. And now today, you see
Hmm.
so many tomorrows, you're
Mhm.
overwhelmed with them. So how bad do you want those tomorrows versus not having a tomorrow? How bad do
Yeah.
you want to help other women versus not helping somebody have their breakthrough?
Right.
Because God already told me, I'm going to bring the people to you. You have to open your mouth and share your story. Give your
Yeah.
testimony. Let me use you.
Yes.
Whether you agree or not, he going to use you. You either going to, as my mother used to say, you could do this the easy way or you could do it the hard way. But when I
Right.
tell you, God will have his way. And
Yeah.
I will tell you, it took me a long time, but I grew through grief. I learned from loss. And I continue to want to learn more about empowering women and helping women. Did I know? I didn't know nothing about a spicy season, nothing. You understand me? Again, I thought my breakthrough was coming from my consulting firm. And now I'm coaching and I'm breakthrough coaching. I'm the $1 million coach. And God was like, that's cute and all. And I appreciate you doing that and helping women,
Right.
but I need you to do this right, this over here. And I
Right.
shared this. I don't know where we were when I shared this. Was we on the after party, on the afterglow, when I told y'all I was Johnny Gill for the Spicy Season Sisters? This, my name was brought up. They had already decided what Spicy
Yes,
Season
Farrah.
Sisters was going to be. And they, nothing but God will have your name in the rooms when you are not there. You understand me?
Yes.
And it was nothing but
Yes.
God. And even though
Yes.
I met 2 years ago at the Small Business Expo, never forgot her, never forgot her, never. I will tell you, the way God do things, you can't help but know. You have
No.
got to tell somebody that it was God. I saw D Adams on here when Tammy was telling her story, and she put but God. We all have to put but God behind the things that we have grown through so that we can
Yeah.
help other people go through. Wherever
Yeah.
we are in life, we don't know what the journey looks like. We don't know the lessons that he's going to take us through to learn. We have to be willing to learn and trust God that where he is taking us, we want to go. So wherever he is taking me, I'm going to always want to be where he's taking me.
Where he's
I
taking
done
you.
took
Yeah.
myself to some places, baby, and I don't trust me no more. So I have got to trust
Yeah.
God so that
Trust.
I can continue to be in the presence and in the place with these beautiful women that are
Yes.
on here, my spicy season sisters. I never want to imagine my life without them.
No.
Life has drastically changed. I've grown
Changed.
so much. They
Yes.
poured so much into me. I just will not do life without them. I won't do life without the Spicy Squad. I won't do life without all of you here who engage with us. We are learning from you. Like
Yes.
Renette said, we get to do this. This is an absolute pleasure for us to be here and do this. This is you being here with you. This is what I didn't see for myself. This is what I dreamed about, but the enemy tried to tell me I couldn't have it because I wasn't worth, my life wasn't worth living for.
Now you know
This
your worth.
was a promise from God that I didn't know was coming. This is God's love realized right in front of my face because I know what that looks like when you clamoring to figure out why you can't figure it out and why you can't push through. It takes work, but you also need help. You don't have to do it alone. I promise you,
Right.
if I didn't get help, I would not be sitting here today. If somebody didn't reach out to me and help me and get me the help I needed, I
Woo.
promise you I would not be sitting here.
Right.
So don't think you have to go at it alone because there's so much support and love out here for you. Get yourself in a supportive community. Talk to somebody who can help you along the way. If you don't feel like you have an outlet to do anything but come in here with us every Thursday night at 8:30, share
Yeah.
with us. Come in the comments and engage and get it off your chest. If
Yeah.
you need resources, say, I need help. Can somebody send me some resources? Do something because if you don't open your mouth, nobody knows. And
Nobody
I had to
knows.
learn to open my mouth and share my story so my story could touch other people and other people know now who they can reach out to for help. So thank y'all for allowing me to come up on the rear and share about growing through grief and learning from loss and trusting God through it all.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you still
Woo.
can. And you still
Absolutely.
are. I've seen some comments come through
Mm.
here. Lillian Husband lost a husband of 42 years and lost 2 children.
So sorry.
There have been different stories in here.
Wow.
And everybody's been through something. And this is why. It's right there. Give it to God first. I lost 2 children and a husband of 42 years. And so we have got to share our stories. We got to talk about it. And that's why we chose to talk about some snippets of our lives. Because when we share our stories and we move past the embarrassment is like the devil. Because it's keeping you from sharing and telling people. You stopping somebody else from their breakthrough. You stopping somebody else from not committing that suicide or not, walking away from that toxic relationship because you too embarrassed to tell I was in this relationship, domestic violence. I was in this. I had a divorce. I was separated. I this, I that. And I understand as Black women, we are many times told what happens in the house stays in the house. I know we don't want our business out because sometimes people gonna look at us with the side eye and sideways. But guess what? God will never look at us that way. And he will always send us who we need. And he gonna put our story out there to help others when you choose to share it. And so we've got to be able to share. We've got to. With that said, also on March 23rd, mark your calendars here in Orlando. We have the Warrior Within. Y'all just heard some stories, okay? And we want to hear your stories. We will be in Orlando. Tickets will be on sale tomorrow if they're not already. I'm not sure. I kind of was busy today. But anyways, we want to invite you all to come out, okay? And be a part of the Warrior Within. It is going to be super impactful. It's going to be all love. We also want to tell you all that we're coming out. Next Level Chicks is featuring Spicy Season Sisters on a cruise this summer. Okay, we are going on a cruise, baby. If y'all ready to come cruising with us, we going to Utopia. Okay, we'll be on the Utopia on Royal Caribbean. But that's what we want to go. We want to go because we've done the fight up. And so now we want to live in that perfect utopia. So what better thing to do than to come see us on the cruise? Spicy Season Sisters will be featured. Okay, so we'll be putting out all the links and the things to for you all to come and join us. We thank y'all. We went a little over time. We don't really have time. We try to keep it to it, but sometimes it's so spicy and it's so juicy, and sometimes it just needs to be heard. And so this is the last thing that I'm going to really say is that what God has for you will and shall be. Each one of us were going through life. Life was lifing. And each one of us were trying to do our own show, podcast, this, that, or whatever. And we could not get it done by ourselves. When I say we are better together, Spicy Season Sisters are definitely better together. Because what we tried to do alone, we didn't get done. But look at us now.
Yes.
Hey, Renette, let me say one thing to the ladies out there. This is Samuel L. Jackson, and I saw this today on Facebook, and it's real quick. And it says, don't forget you're human. It's okay to have a meltdown. Just don't unpack and live there. It says, try it out and then refocus on where you are headed. That's so important. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, ladies.
Yes, so good. Oh my gosh, ladies, I tell you, it was just so much richness in this episode today.
Yes.
And because we were open to share. We were open to share honestly. I know that for those who are watching, I can see in the chat, you all were very much engaged. And I can't wait for those who are going to watch, because I'm sure we're going to get a lot of people reaching out. Because that's one thing. You know what? For those who are watching, every one of our stories started with some form of, trials and tribulations, but we needed that as a catalyst to be where we are today. Like Gail said, she had to go through that. She had to go through that. you know, when me and Gail met and I interviewed her and she shared that, for one, I didn't even know anything about her when I met her. And for me to get on a podcast with her and for her to share this, that episode was one of the most watched episodes, and the most women reached out for help.
Yeah.
Because it was truly her being transparent and sharing her life, and that desire that she had to touch people came through her truth. But she had to go through the trial first before she can get to the truth. Like she said, to, you know, stop being embarrassed.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to just put it all out there.
Yeah.
And that episode was one of the most impactful episodes. I mean, it was the most watched episode. And I sent it out to so many women, and so many women were set free from that. Women who I had no idea who had contemplated suicide. Friends of mine that I had no idea. And
Wow.
just by putting it up, putting her truth out there, and just saying, you know what, I'm going to just put it out there.
Wow.
She did. You know, it saved so many women, so many people. You know, and this podcast will do the same thing tonight. Toya's story, Renette, Tammy, mine, Gail's, I'm sure is going to impact a lot of women, especially for those of you who are sharing. We don't expect that this episode is going to just stay in the Central Florida area or just in Dallas. We know that you all are watching from all over the place.
Right.
And we want to hear how you triumph over all of the things that you're being challenged with, even right now in 2025. We want to hear, we want to celebrate with you.
Definitely. We want to celebrate. And tonight was very different because we've always had, you know, lightness in it. This was deep. But sometimes you have to go deep. Sometimes you have to, you know, dig and get into the meat of things. Because like I said, a lot of people look at us and feel like, oh, it's so easy. Oh, they have a wonderful life. Oh, I get so many times, well, you got a husband. You don't live in this house. Don't you hear that all the time? You got a husband.
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
I used to hear it all the time.
Yeah. So because somebody has a husband, that doesn't mean life is perfect.
Yeah.
You know? And because somebody is single, that doesn't mean they're sad. So we have to not get caught up in what we see. Okay? Mm-hmm. We have to really think about where we are and look at our own story and figure out how to move past whatever it is we're going through. I love to say it over and over and over. Do not sit still, stuck, and stagnant. God has so much more for you. And so we want to step into our more. And it doesn't matter the fact that we are 40 plus. That is a blessing. Because it's a lot of people that didn't make it to 40 plus. Mm-hmm. And so because you're here, that's not the time to stop. That is the time to keep going. Our ladder shall be greater than our beginning. So guess what? You still okay. Yes. And with that being said, we'll be out. Join us next week, Thursday, at the same time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Share this out.